Good morning, good day, good evening, whatever your time zones may be. You're here for GPRL and GPRL only today. Here for the GPRL Summer Series, the return of GPRL. I'm Alex Bomberg, as always in the booth. This time joined by F2 VRL commentator, also very experienced commentator from many leagues around the world. It's Adam Adensky.
Well, hi Alex. Well, thank you for the very, very kind of flattering introduction. I'm really excited to be here for the almost pseudo-reincarnation of GPRL, the Sprint Summer Series, as you just mentioned. And I'll tell you what, it's an illustrious looking field. I'm really excited to get underway here at the home of racing at Silverstone.
Of course, if you think back to 1950, the first F1 Grand Prix World Championship race was held here. It's a great track for overtaking. This whole new format we have. Adam, if you'd like to give us a quick run through whilst the drivers load in for their one-shot quali lap.
Love to, Alex. So, for those of you unfamiliar with GPRL, obviously this time we have a sprint series. So if you just indulge me for just a few moments while we load up for qualifying, I will let you know what the rules and regulations for. So, equal car performance, as always with online leagues, and it's going to be a sprint format, which means it's going to be one-shot qualifying, as we are live right now for that, so keep your eyes peeled on whichever driver Alex kindly chooses. It's one-shot qualifying, as I mentioned, 25% race for race 1, and then of course the order of that race result will be reversed on its head for a 5-lap sprint race with the reverse grid from that 25% race. So Alex, as I just mentioned, one-shot qualifying, as the drivers are going around now, no mistakes. If you make one mistake or have your lap invalidated, you could really compromise yourself for the upcoming 25% race.
Yeah, of course. Well, we've already had Karen retiring from the session. Up at the front, it's going to be quite hard for us as commentators to track this with all the guys moving around. You can see the timings as it is so far, as it's actually Eltink in the lead going through Cops. Yeah, as you said, Adam, one mistake and you're almost out of it. It's really interesting to see. Just seen Eltink there, invalidate his lap. Yeah, so that's going to be him down. It's really crucial that you get a good position in qualifying, as we've got Jai Fletcher, VRL F2 champion, in the lead of this lap as he comes through Stowe Corner. The first race, yeah, it is really close. The two Red Bulls, the GPRL Season 4 teammates, the most decorated driver in GPRL history, Marine, comes through the final corner, and he's going to claim the first squad sprint pole position. Summer sprint, sorry, in this little series. Marine, the most decorated driver, as we have mentioned many times. Adam, what do you make of that?
It will not be the last time.
It will not be the last time. Look how close them top three are.
And I'll tell you what, for one-shot qualifying, guys, do not look at those times and discount them. That is an incredible pace from first all the way to 8th. Literally 7/10 of a second, and then look at Ardapple Game and Benjamin in 9th, Alex. On the medium tyres, the delta is around about 7 to 8 tenths per lap between the soft and medium times. So Benjamin going for the alternate strategy there, 9th fastest. He's definitely going to be one to watch, but the two Red Bulls looking very, very quick in Marine and Felix. VRL F1 regulars both in the championship contention this season. For those of you that hadn't seen it, where have you been?
And, where have you been?
It's going to be an incredible... I'm really looking forward to this race, Alex. Definitely the top 3. Buckets of pace, abundance of pace all through that grid. It's going to be an exciting race, but of course, 25%, literally no room for error. And of course, as a safety net, guys, just remember, unlike other league racing, it's reduced damage. So do expect to see a little bit of argy-bargy between the drivers. Some of the shoulders might get out as the damage is reduced, but that does not mean to say that you could have one incident and wreck your race. There's literally no time to recover.
No safety car as well, so literally one mistake and you could be out. Reduced damage, as you mentioned, Adam, a little bit of argy-bargy. One thing I wanted to mention in qualifying, but we were quite rushed to go. We actually, in the first race, some of you may not be aware of this, the first race is full F1 points, and then the second race we run a shortened points with I believe P1 scoring 10 points and P10 scoring 1 point. So You know, it's not you can retire out the first race, start pole, and score as many points as you could in the first race. There is a buffer, of course, but I'm really excited at the prospect of someone being able to score an outsider win or an outsider podium, which I really hope we can see today.
Yeah, and with a 5-lap race, that should absolutely promote it. And let's not disregard anybody at the back end of the field. We are looking at a very, very quick roster of drivers. So don't look at Matt Yoda speak, our friend from across the pond. I'm sure he has done a great job to get up at the early hours where he is, around about 8:30 his time in the morning to get up for this race. So the beauty of this, as you said, Alex, a short race, anybody could win. Don't be discouraged, but if you finish quite poorly in the first race, in the second race, you'll have an opportunity to score points. As you mentioned, less points on offer in the 5-lap race, as you would expect from the sprint race. They're going back to the 2009 points regulations, I believe, where it was 10 points for win, 8 points for second, and running all the way down into 8th place. Only the top 8 will score in the sprint race, but we'll concentrate on that as we're ready to get underway for the feature races. Marion and Felix leads the field round.
Flashbacks to GPRL season 4 when these two dominated in the Red Bull.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I was looking through that. Obviously, I wasn't involved in GPR in its earlier days, but I had the privilege to sort of look through some of these races, and I'll tell you what, if today is anything like what I've seen from the archives, then we are in store for a very exciting race indeed. The 150,000 plus virtual British crowd, of course, respecting social distancing, just like we are back at home, wherever you're watching this.
Of course, in this tricky time, hopefully GPRL and many other leagues, mainly GPRL, though, can provide you with a little bit of entertainment. So we've got the drivers on the grid now already. Everyone's ready. Are you ready for the first round of GPRL Sprint Series? The return to Red Bull 1-2, Jai Fletcher in third. The oldest GPRL driver in Yannick in P4. What can they do off the line? Wait for the delay. There's 5 red lights ahead of the drivers. And I believe we're racing. It seems to be a good start from both the Red Bulls, notably Felix, down the inside of his teammate to turn number 1. Yannick got a good start, was hung out to dry though. There's a Williams going off. I believe that is Karim. Moran, though, holds the lead as we go into the end of the first sector. Darth FIFA a little bit further back, making up points. I believe Kai Eltink is off, facing backwards through the middle sector. Jai Fletcher has managed to split the Red Bulls in the Williams, but now Felix down into Brooklyn's. Yannick now out of the session. Felix challenging Fletcher as we go into Woodcote. Jai Fletcher holding ahead of his teammate. A little bit further back, the two Mercedes squabbling behind Matthijs, who's got up to P7. A strong start for him as he's ahead of Lucas and Ardipal Gamer, the highest running medium tyre runner. Interesting contra strategy there. We're interested to see how that one plays out. A little bit further back to the front. Good start from Fletcher. Even better start from Moran to hold the lead.
Yeah, no, it was a great getaway from Orion. He did, well, get off the line well. Very little wheel spin from the two Red Bulls, but Fletcher hung it round the outside into turn 1. Of course, coming into the arena section, held the inside and was able to get it better. And now he's getting right up behind Orion. Fletcher is not messing about. He wants to clear the other Red Bull and try and run away with this, as he so often did in the VRL F2 campaign.
Of course, a little bit further back, looks like the Mercedes are getting a little bit close. Tim ahead of Luke. They seem to be keeping it clean for a while. For now, it seems as if everyone is keeping it clean as we complete the first lap of this new series. Moran as the first driver of the line. He's not clear though. Fletcher holding on to him. Felix isn't too far back. Darth FIFA's been dragged along with them, and it's all really tight from first down to 9th.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Alex. And looking at some of the drivers going through, especially Benjamin, interesting strategy that he's on the medium tyres. To watch him come later in the race, when he puts on the soft tyres, he's going to be like a bullet. But there's overtakes galore. As we can see Luke making a move on Tim, but Tim holds it round the outside. He slides a little bit. Now coming into Woodcote, holds on the inside line. It understeers a little bit. Luke's going to know that he's gone for the switchback, under and over, and now they're going to have the run down into Cop's corner. Who's going to win? It's going to be the Toro Rosso or the Mercedes. Equal performance, but it looks like Tim has the momentum and holds on to 5th place. Just as you said, Alex, it's tight racing through the field. They've got to get a move on. There's no time for strategy or managing your tyres. It's literally a short dash to the finish, and within about 15-20 minutes time we're going to have our final result for race 1, so no messing about from these guys. It's brilliant stuff already.
Exactly, and a little bit further back, Alfie's just moved past Salim for P13, sorry. He goes onto the grass. He's got front wing damage as Alfie in the Haas. Salim says thank you very much. The Ferrari's making slow and steady progress up the field. They could get their act in on a few points. Still, at the front, it's Moraine leading Jai Fletcher, leading Felix, Darth FIFA, Thomas, Tim, Luke, and Matthijs, who's dropped out of DRS crucially. That's going to leave him very vulnerable to Lucas, Adam.
Yeah, and DRS is very, very powerful on a street like Silverstone. You're on full throttle for 70% of the lap. 2 massive DRS zones as we're about to approach the first of those on the run down into Village and then Brooklands. As you can see, Fletcher gets a very poor exit coming out of the Aintree corner, running all the way down into Brooklands now, and he's going to have to fend off Felix, who's got all over the back of him now, who tries to go to the outside. Fletcher picks the right line, but he's going to have to not compromise himself as he comes into Luffield and Woodcote now, holds it tight to the inside, very much hugs it like your favourite Nan, and Felix this time not able to make the move. But as you said, DRS so powerful in Silverstone. You have to find the right balance, especially coming through Magnussen Beckett, as it can really compromise your run into the hangar straight, and you could be a sitting duck for the chasing cars now as we see Felix coming through there all over the back of Fletcher.
Yeah, of course, as you mentioned, Adam, 70% of this lap is conducted on full throttle. That makes fuel conservation and ERS management so much harder than on other tracks. But here's Fletcher. He's got a really good run down onto the hangar straight. He's going to go down the inside of Stowe for the lead of the first round of GPRL Summer Series. Fletcher is ahead of Moraine. Moraine's going to come back though on the inside. He can't quite get it late enough on the brakes. Fletcher goes up into the lead. He's now got a task to try and break away out of that DRS before the first stops.
It was a very good move from Fletcher. As you said, Alex, he got round in the DRS section. He was fending off Felix earlier on, but he got a great run out of Magnussen Beckett as Moraine not so good, and he was left like a sitting duck. But of course, as you mentioned, ERS management is going to be critical in this race, as it's one of the hardest tracks on the F1 calendar to do that. So Fletcher might be using a lot of his battery now, but come the end of the race, Moraine, if he conserves it and stays with Fletcher's DRS, he might be able to attack him later on.
Yeah, Moraine not quite close enough in that DRS section, sorry. It's all really close. A little bit further back, we've seen Ardipol Gamer Benjamin come into the pits from their medium tyres onto soft tyres. So he's going on a really long stint there. I believe MNT Eltink, Kai Eltink, has followed him in. So that's a feature of these 25% races. You know, strategy isn't massively different. You really can afford to go long on them soft tyres. If they can, you know, nail in a good couple of laps here, they could come out in a really good position, considering Benjamin was only a couple of seconds off the lead.
Well, and that's a good point, actually. I mean, I remember watching a virtual Grand Prix that Sky and F1 do, where Daniel Beresnay, the Formula Euro esports driver, did a very, very early pit stop in Bahrain to clear himself of the traffic, as Kai and Benjamin have done so just the same, with the aim now on these fresh tyres to put in a couple of hot laps, really get the most out of them, to try and move up the field in clear air, of course, when everyone else makes their pit stops. However, the payback for that is that later on in the race, their tyres are going to be screaming and are going to be very worn, and they may come under incredible pressure from the leading driver later on in this race. But it'd be very interesting to see how this unfolds.
Yeah, of course. Looks like Felix has dropped off the back of his two-time world champion teammate Moraine. He's now looking vulnerable to Darth FIFA, who's looking to snatch that final podium position. Tim and Luke, the two Mercedes, prowling behind. There goes Darth FIFA looking for a move down the inside of Felix. Felix leaves in the room. Alfie now retiring from the session. I'm not quite sure where he's gone off. It looks like turn 3.
Yeah, he's gone off just turn 3. May have been, I'm not sure if he had a pit stop. Oh, no, he didn't. So he's obviously made a big error there, or had an incident which has took him out of this race. But of course, that will help him out later on.
That should give him
the sprint race.
Well, yeah,
although we'll have to confirm on that because I'm not 100% sure if that depends on whether you finish the race at the back or if you retire, but of course we'll find out in the sprint race what Alex has in mind for you guys.
Of course.
We're not going to spoil it for you.
We're not. I'm going to think about what to do. We've got a couple of drivers into the pits here.
So yeah, Fletcher, Marine hitting. Felix is gonna, or Felix has gone through to lead. He's going to have to wait another lap. So this, obviously, I would say it's normally in response to what Benjamin, R Double Gamer and Kai are doing, but they're quite a long way behind the leaders. So this looks like the optimum time to dump the soft tyres, as Fletcher was doing fastest lap after fastest lap. Now put on the medium tyres to allow them to go to the end. And of course the last thing you want to do in this phase is speed in the pit lane, which is what Damien has done down in 13th position. So he's going to add 5 seconds to his time penalty as well.
That is massive in a race this short. It's a shame for Damien.
Is.
But looks like through the pit stops the order stayed the same. FIFA, I think, dropped time. He must have got held. As look, there's RDPL Gamer Benjamin out in P12 now, just behind his teammate. That's going to put him in an effective P5 that is. And if he claims what will be P11 now, that ends up being P4 on the road when everyone makes a stop.
And crucially as well, Alex, Felix was battling with FIFA as now RDPL Gamer goes to remove on the inside. Well, FIFA was warming up his tyres. Those tyres are not up to full working temperature, and Benjamin takes full advantage of that. And Luke, also in the system, Mercedes is going to be all over the back of him now. So, as we talked about on the previous lap, that strategy call from Benjamin has really paid off for him in this phase of the race. But of course, once those medium tyres get back up to working temperature, FIFA is going to be all over the back of his Renault teammate. And he is no slouch, former EuroLeague champion this season, also a very hot contender in VRL F1. So, Darthy was going to be no slouch getting after his teammate straight after that one.
Yeah, I just noticed Tim in the pits now was speeding in the pit lane. Looks like FIFA now is going to come back at his teammate down the inside into Stowe, what Hamilton famously did to Kovalainen back in 2008. That was wet. It's very dry this time round, and unlike that situation, RDPL Gamer holding it in front of his teammate. But Luke's going to get involved on the action now. What a move around the outside. It looks though for a little bit of contact as they go through the final corner. They somehow both keep it in a straight line and keep it on the road, but positions stay the same as Tim with a 5-second penalty out ahead of them guys, crucially. So he's made that overcut work very well as he's got ahead of both his teammate and FIFA.
And Felix has as well, and I think battling FIFA battling with his teammate Benjamin has cost him a couple of seconds, which is crucially rendered the undercut pointless, and that's allowed Felix and Tim, as you said, with the overcut to make that move and stay ahead of the two Renaults. That is critical for their races, and now Felix is now going to have to get a move on. He's a second behind his teammate, who in turn is another 2 seconds behind Fletcher in the lead now. So now it's a sprint to the finish.
Of course, just 6 laps to go. RDPL Gamer, his tyres, if anyone's, will be wearing out. If you were going to put your money on someone's tyres to wear out, it would have to be RDPL Gamer. Oldest, softest tyres, beneficial now. You'd have to think though, as the race goes on, they would get more and more worn and start to become more and more of a nuisance.
Yeah, and he's already under a massive pressure from his teammate already, and you can see Kai further back has dropped a second and a half off of this chasing back, so he's already starting to feel it. And as you mentioned, Benjamin is really going to start to struggle. Probably not right now, but the next 2 laps towards the end of this race, he's going to start to slide. Those tyres are going to get very hot, very worn, less traction, and on a track like Silverstone, you really do need to have the traction. So right now, Benjamin in 8th place, but he may start to regret that early strategy call as this race unfolds.
Yeah, I've just noticed, obviously, Jai Fletcher, the effective leader, he's got 2 seconds to sell him ahead, who's running up in P3. Both Ferraris still yet to pit, along with Yannick, who's up in P2. Interesting strategy, because I'm sure them tyres won't be the healthiest. Nevertheless, we'll have to see how that one works out. I'm sure Jai Fletcher should be able to navigate these guys without too many issues. Felix, though, as you mentioned, is closing up to his teammate now, so he seemed as if he was a little bit slower on the softer tyres. He's strapped on the medium tyres, and he seems as if he's running a little bit, running better on these tyres than he did them soft tyres. And he's also dragging Tim along with him in the DRS, so we could have a 3-way fight for P2.
Well, I'm just having a look at the onboards as we were talking about Felix moving up the order as Fletcher goes up into third place. I was saying the back markers could play a real havoc to the leaders as they're not being lapped, so overtaking is paramount for Fletcher. As he's done so, he's dispatched the first Ferrari, who continues to go on whilst his teammate pits. But I was just looking at the onboard of Marine and Felix, and quite critically, Alex, Felix has managed his ERS very much conservatively. He has got so much more battery available to him than Marine and even Fletcher ahead. And that is, and a Ferrari's completely lost it.
Yeah,
Salim
I was on board with Marine, and Salim went completely off, and it was inches between the Ferrari and Marine's front wing. Thankfully, he doesn't touch him, but that's the effect of staying on them old tyres. Could that be signs, early signs of what's going to happen to Benjamin later? A little bit further back, the two Red Bulls are going to battle. Down the inside goes Felix into Brooklands. He's made that move stick, and he's up into P2. Can he get after Jai Fletcher now?
Well, he's got a 2-second gap. It was a very, very good move all the way down the DRS section, coming out of Aintree Corner, all the way down to Brooklands, and there's nothing Mariah could do. And he's brought Tim with him, and the two Renaults and Luke in 8th position. So Mariah has got to be careful now not to fall down. He's used a lot of his battery, and Felix hasn't by comparison to even Fletcher. So Felix, towards the end of this race, keeps his pace up. Fletcher may have another Red Bull for company towards the end of this race. He may not have it all his own way.
Yeah, of course, how much are the Red Bulls willing to work together though? We know how much they get on. I believe a lot of these drivers are actually all in a party together, so they'll be discussing. I'm sure they all want to go and get after Jai Fletcher for the first ever win of the GPRL Sprint Series. Yannick still holds the lead. I'm not really sure about that strategy of not pitting. Remember, you do have to stop. There is one mandatory pit stop. Have to use both medium and soft, or two of the three mandatory compounds. But yeah, as you mentioned, Adam, we've got a right train coming up here, leading all the way down to Luke, and if they continue to battle, Kai Elting down in P9 will get in on the act.
Yeah, I mean, Kai's dropping off a bit further. He's struggling on those softer tyres, as we're expecting. Benjamin, who is doing a great job holding out, but you can see a train is starting to develop behind Felix, interestingly, who is, by the looks of it, helping his teammate out. Marine going for a move to the inside by the looks of it, but to be honest, it's probably just to remind Felix of where he is. But I would not be surprised if the team plan for Red Bull, from Felix at least, is to allow his teammate to finish in the top 3 with him, because right now that could be crucial. It's a very short championship, every point is going to count, and if Felix doesn't feel he can catch Fletcher, which judging by his pace suggests that to be the case, he's probably better to finish 2nd and 3rd and help his teammate, who right now has hardly any battery. And if he breaks away from him, Alex, Marine is going to be like a sitting duck to the likes of Tim, Benjamin and Thomas Darfifa in the Renault, and even Luke further back.
Well, I think that's going to be the case for anyone. If anyone manages to break away, they don't have the DRS to tow each other along. There goes Marine down the inside of his teammate of Stowe. He gets that move done. Doesn't look like Felix put up too much of a battle. Felix struggling with ERS now. As I was just about to say, yeah, in the DRS you can sort of sit back and conserve your ERS, but if you're the one leading the pack, you've got to expend more fuel and more ERS, more battery power to stay ahead. So that's obviously what we're seeing now. The two Red Bulls, I'd put a guess and say that they are working together, trying to tow each other along, trying to build up each other's ERS buzz to then go and have a go at Fletcher, well, in the last couple of laps. But saying that, we've only got 3 laps to go, Adam. This race has absolutely flown by. Yeah,
Fletcher's certainly pulling away, and it looks like unless he makes a penalty, he's going to win this race. And you're absolutely right. We're starting to see the IndyCar tactics now. And for those of you that are not familiar with this, the IndyCar tactics is simply to slipstream and tow each other along to conserve energy, conserve your tyres, conserve your fuel, do all of that while following the car in front, and then just switching positions for the lead car every so often. And I'm expecting the Red Bulls to do that at the Hangar Straight, so don't be surprised on this lap if Felix gets a run on his teammate and Marine just allows them to go through. Of course, the last lap should be pretty tasty. Which way will they go? Will they fight each other on the last lap?
Yeah, of course, looks like Fletcher now, making a move past Yannick. That's an easy move. I expect Yannick to come to the pits.
Well, he's going to have to. If he doesn't, he'll be disqualified now that he's
been lapped. And just a little thing about Alfie retiring. Is that Yannick in the pits? That is Yannick in the pits.
Oh, yeah.
A little thing about Alfie retiring. He will not. He will start last in the reverse grid race. You can't retire and get pole. You have to finish all of the 25% race in order to be reversed on the grid. That means currently we've got Salim on for reverse grid pole.
I think that's fair, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just 2 laps to go. 2.9 seconds of the gap between Marine and Jai Fletcher. Marine, I've been quite impressed with his pace so far, actually. Definitely the back end of VRL, he started to struggle a little bit in terms of pace, but not doing a bad job ahead of, seasoned veterans and championship winners. Remember the last ever championship held in GPRL, Felix won. He's behind his teammate. Tim also there. He was leading the season 6 championship before that was called off. It's all really tight, and fair play to Marine for holding it ahead, but let's talk about Jai Fletcher. He's doing what he's done so many times in F2, Adam. Storming away with it.
It's a statement of intent. It's definitely bragging rights for some of his colleagues and rivals for VRL F1 next season when that does get underway towards the end of the summer. But as we come to the final part now, have a look at Tim, have a look at Benjamin as well. Tim has got a great run on Felix here. He could get a podium. Marine is trying to tow his teammate along to protect him, and he does so with aplomb there. Is Tim going to go for a lunge? Benjamin had so much battery behind him. We've got a poor run out of Maggot to Beckett's. Coming through the final corner, Fletcher is just coming around the final corner now to win the opening race.
Got one more lap, Adam. One more lap, Adam. I'm not sure if your lap counter's one ahead, but we're still racing. We've got one more lap to go. I'm not sure if that's a bit of desync on your part.
This is awkward.
Let's ignore that.
Moving the golden rule of commentary there.
Moving very swiftly on. Looks at Ardipol Gamer getting past Tim now, so his tie's clearly not going anywhere at all. Tim, who was looking to pressurise for a podium, Benjamin has now got past him. Adam's left the session. I'll give you another invite in just a moment. I think he might have lagged out, so we'll get back to Adam in just a moment. Looks like Ardipol Gamer still holding off Tim. Behind him, there's contact! And a little bit further back, Darth FIFA and Luke both making contact. They go off at Luffield. And that's the shame, they're both going to drop down, dropping valuable points there. Kai Elting moves up into 6th, Tim into 5th, Ardipol Gamer 4th, still pressurising behind Felix and Marine. Can Felix now get a run? He's got a decent bar of ERS, he's going into overtake mode. Jai Fletcher looks like he's going to win this race, unless he has any drama in the last couple of corners. Felix now round the outside of Marine into Stowe. What a move by the GPRL Season 5 champion. He's going to get that move done. It looks like Marine is going to hold off for P3. The Ardipol Gamer still P4. As we go into the final couple of corners, Jai Fletcher wins the first ever race in GPRL Summer Sprint. Felix 2nd, Marine 3rd, Ardipol Gamer P4. Make that P5 as MNT Elting claims P4 after Ardipol Gamer and Tim both get penalties. P7 for Darth FIFA. Lucas looks like he's going to come home in an impressive P8 ahead of Luke, and it looks like Kerem is going to round off the points. P10 for himself. Enrico ends up P10, scores a point for his efforts. Actually, reserve Nick Pancras does that as he claims P10. Kerim 12, Matthias swapping positions with Yannick, who left the session. P13 for Matthias. Could have been more, could have been points for him. As Yannick P14, Damien P15, Matt Yoda speak with a relatively quiet race. P16 for him. He'll start P2 in just a couple of moments. And Salim looks like he's gonna round the final couple of corners to claim what will be pole position next time out in the 5-lap reverse grid race. But there are the final results, as we have Salim coming through the final corners. Now Jai Fletcher wins in the Williams ahead of the 2 Red Bulls of Marine and Felix. What a race to open GPRL Sprint Series.
So that was the end of the first race, guys. I hope you all enjoyed that. And joining us, we've got our top three. So first of all, our first winner of the GPRL Summer Sprint Series is Jay Fletcher, VRL F2 champion. Delighted to announce. Congratulations, Fletcher. What was your take on that race?
Firstly, congrats to the podium guys, Ball and Felix. They did great races. But pretty much what I did was I just saved ERS all the first stint while Ball and Felix, I think, were expending a little bit more. So on the outlap, I could push a lot more and then break the DRS and then cruise to the finish. That was my plan, and it worked fine.
Williams winning at Silverstone definitely brings back memories. It hasn't happened for quite some time. But yeah, congrats on the win, Fletcher, and hopefully the first of many to come for this season. So second place, we've got the first of the two Red Bull finishers on the podium. So Felix, great job, second place. What were your thoughts on the race?
The start was, it was okay. Lost position to Jai, but if I would just stick within the DRS and slipstream, I'll be fine. And that's what happened. And I had to overtake Moraine on the final lap, but he kind of let me through, so yeah.
So finally, to round off the podium just quickly, a third place finisher, Moraine. Great to have you with us once again. It's strange, I don't often commentate on your races, so it's a bit of a privilege for me. But pole position, great luck for you to get that. And but unfortunately, not able to convert that in the race. Did your teammate and Fletcher have a little bit too much pace for you in this race?
Yeah, they did. Jay was just too quick, and yeah, the teamwork with Felix was really good to hold off cars behind. That worked out well. So yeah, I was really happy with my pole.
So that was our top three for our first race, ladies and gentlemen. Just to remind you of the order, the race winner was Jai Fletcher in the Williams, getting the first win in the feature race, with Felix in second and Moraine in third position, to round off a double podium for Red Bull. So sorry for that intermittence, guys. So we've just had a little bit of a break while the drivers ready up. We've established the reverse grid order for the 5-lap sprint race. Now, of course, remember, only the top 8 finishers are going to score points. We're adopting the 2009 point scoring system that Formula 1 adopted, which means it's going to be 10 points for first, 8 points for second, 6 points for third, 5 points for fourth, 4 points, I should say, for fifth place. Get my numbers mixed up there. 3 points for sixth place, 2 points for seventh, and 1 remaining point for our 8th place finishers. So, Alex, it's going to be a lot of hard work for our top drivers who finished high up in the feature race to score some points in this 5-lap sprint race. There is not a lot of time, and I've got to say, are we going to see some moves that some of the drivers wouldn't normally perform in a regular race? Are we going to see them get a little desperate and go for gaps that may just not have appealed to them earlier on, Alex? What do you think?
I mean, in theory, you know, obviously we've got people like Fletcher, Moraine, Felix, all of them, you know, obviously the podium sitters last time out, all of the point scorers are the faster drivers, and they're the guys who are starting at the back, other than you could maybe argue Matt, who in theory could run away with this. But yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Adam. I'd say, of course, I do think that we'd get some mad ones. There's no formation lap. Salim Haddad on pole in the Ferrari, 5 red lights ahead of the drivers. There's a jump start for Lucas a little bit further back. Looks like Matt has got off the line relatively well as we go down into Abbey. For the second time today, we go racing. Crash. A little bit further back, that's Nick Pancras has been involved. Looks like one of the Red Bulls is off as well. It's carnage down at turn number 3. There's a Ferrari turnaround, that's for Enrico, who's gone around. Salim still leads this race ahead of Damien, ahead of Matthias. Further back, Yoda Speaker's dropped a couple of places, and Darth FIFA up into P4 already.
What a start.
I'd love to see that on board as we go into Brooklands now. There's yellow flags aplenty. Adam, what's going on further back?
So Tim has had a bad spin. He lost control of it, having a little bit of a collision while the pack was all bunching up together and on the run down, and now he's out of the race. He's completely binned it, but that is Tim's race over. Got caught up in all the action there, Alex, and that's what can happen. People getting desperate and you end up with passengers in the wall, and that's what's happened to Tim, so it's race over for him.
Yeah, look at Look at Jai Fletcher just ahead of Felix and Marine. He's managed to get the two of them off the start. He's now battling Luke, who seems to hold him up. We've got Lucas over the grass. It looks like Luke made a little mistake there. There goes Fletcher past him. It's all going off in this sprint race. Look at the front. There goes Matthias past Salim. Salim down to P3 now. Into the clutches of Yoda Speak now as we go into the final corner. Salim makes contact with, I believe that was Matthias.
Salim is going all the way down the order. He's fallen like an anchor on a hot summer's day, and it's not going out well for him. But I tell you what a start from Darfifa and Kai as well, up into 4th place.
Yeah, Darfifa down the inside of Matt. They're having a good battle. There goes Kai down the inside of Darfifa. Very opportunistic move. As you mentioned, Adam, earlier, shoulders are plenty coming out in this race. It's only lap number 2, but as you mentioned, Kai up 10 places from his starting position. What a start. He's looking down the inside of Yoda Speak. Now they make contact, and that's a shame. Eltink has been spun around down into 5th. And what did you make of that contact there, Adam?
You know, I tell you what, these are the sorts of things we were talking about earlier on, Alex, that people are going to get desperate for moves. They're going to look for opportunities that may not have previously looked for in longer distance races. Oh, and Matt's gone off the road. He's lost it out of Cops. And he's gone straight into the barrier, and that is his race over. Oh, that is a shame for Matt, running second. And it can happen so quickly. Just like that. People's concentration goes right out the window in this format, and just like that, it's race over for him. Further down the field, Fletcher has got some damage on his front wing. I think he had an incident with Felix. I didn't see it on camera, but both of them have dropped down the order. Marine, miraculously in all of this, is up into 6th place out of nowhere. And Matthias has lost it as well. Oh, sorry, that's Kerem.
Is that Kerem?
Excuse me. Kerem in the Williams lost it out of Stowe corner. Lost the back end, went very wide on the exit, and spun his Williams up, and he's down into 12th place. So Marine up into 5th place now. It's
all going off here at Silverstone. We've got Luke battling with the 2 Ferraris. Round the outside of Abe goes the Mercedes driver, side by side with Enrico. They make contact. I believe Matthias has gone off again. There's more contact further back. That was Nick Pancras getting in very deep. He's made contact with Salim, who's gone off again. I believe Enrico Ferrotti may have been a little bit worse off there as well. He's dropped a position to Felix. As Felix up into 7th, Marine up into 5th. Kai Elting up into 4th. Mainly the biggest gainer is Benjamin Ardipol Gamer, just 1.5 seconds now off the lead. He could very much so go and take the lead off Damien, Adam.
I mean, what a race we are seeing. Nick Pancras, as you mentioned, went into turn 1 way too deep there. Obviously his brakes weren't working well, so he thought he'd borrow El Ferrotti's as well, but they're having a bit of a ding-dong battle for 8th place. But yeah, Benjamin, the 2 Renaults, what a start to this race for them. Ben has made up 10 places and is now challenging for the lead. He could win this race. It could be a Renault 1-2, Alex, if we're not careful.
Of course, and you think, Damien, all those GPRL fans, the memories of Season 5 Austria will be flooding back in Damien, claiming an incredible win, an unexpected win in the incredible wet to dry to wet again. Or sorry, dry to wet to dry again Austrian Grand Prix. What a race that was. If any of you haven't seen it, I urge that you go and watch it, because it was race of the season contender. Damien, an experienced league racer, an experienced winner. Benjamin, though, seems to have the pace over him. Nevertheless, though, it's just been crazy so far, and we've still got another 2 laps of action.
Yeah, it's absolutely madness, Alex, and just looking through the midfield, it changes so quickly. It's a shame we've only got 1 camera on this, because I was talking the last lap, Fletcher down in 14th with front wing damage and Felix further down, but Felix is now only 2 seconds behind his teammate in 6th position, so Red Bull having a brilliant day today for points, and Fletcher only a second off the points behind Ferrotti in 9th position.
Of course, important to remember, it's only the top 8, a lot different to usual. I was guilty of making that mistake. But looking back to the front, Kai Elting still pushing Darfifa, who seems to have dropped off his teammate. However, his teammate has not dropped off as Damien. We're going to have a last lap battle for the lead here.
He can smell a race win. There's blood in the water, and it reeks of McLaren Renault, and the sister Renault manufacturer company of Benjamin currently looking like he can see that's 10 points right in front of him, looking like the rear end of a McLaren. And Kai has gone for a move. He's passed our FIFA into third.
Down the inside goes
and he's gone very
Darfifa.
wide of club. Oh, wow.
A little bit more contact, he keeps in a straight line. One thing I would like to mention about Ardapol Gamer, he's won one race in VRL. Do you know where that race was, Adam?
Oh, that was at the end, near the end of the season, wasn't it? It was.
It was right here in Britain.
Oh, there you go.
So there's
The
that
more you
little
know.
nostalgic thing. Looks like his teammate Anna Elting still battling. Can Ardapol Gamer get ahead of Damien here into Brooklands? Is it going to be Vetteles down the inside? Not quite. He doesn't quite have it on the brakes. Look at Elting weaving
I'll tell
very
you what,
aggressively.
He's getting way too squirmish there. Almost losing it coming down.
Looks like the Red Bull's battling.
Very wide.
The Red Bull's battling. There's so much going off on this last lap. Apologies if we can't cover everything. Felix ahead of his teammate Marine. Yeah, Elting dropping back behind Darfifa now. He's going to have another go. Ardapol Gamer still behind Damien. Elting looking to the inside. Can't quite get the line. Can he? He's got one more proper overtaking chance. Damien, little bit squirmish out of Maggots and Beckett. And there goes Ardapol Gamer. What a move. What a drive.
He's going to have to defend the slipstream though, because Damien's probably going to try and go for a lunge through Cops. He's too far back, and I think the painful reality has set into him now that a race win has just slipped through his fingers at the last opportunity. Alex, sign it off in style.
What a drive from Ardapol Gamer. Just like in VRL Season 4, he crosses the line to take a win here at Silverstone. 11 places gained in just 5 laps. What a drive from the Renault driver. Damien,
we've got Darfifa and Kai going wheel to wheel across the line. Oh, and Kai has just got it.
I think Darfifa picked up a few penalties there.
Oh, well, you're still going through nonetheless, but that is brilliant. And Marine finishes ahead of Felix in the Battle of the Red Bulls reverse order from their result in the feature race. But what a day for Red Bull. A podium finish for second and third, and fourth and fifth in the sprint race. They are looking very healthy at the top of the standings.
Renault as well though, they get a win here and double point scores in both races, so I'm looking forward to see how the constructors turns out, as well as the drivers as well after these 2 races. But what a drive from Ardapol Gamer. Can't wait to hear from him regarding his race, because I can imagine it'd be quite manic, and there was so much going on.
We need more cameras to follow this. I mean, the sprint series is definitely going to be a highlight of this campaign, this series. We need to find a way to get more cameras in. I think I might have a suggestion I might share with you later.
Okay,
But,
looking forward to it.
But rounding that off is our race winner of our sprint race. It's Benjamin Ardapol Gamer in the Renault in an unlikely result, making up 11 places, I believe, to get that victory. I might be wrong, about 11,
Yeah, from
10 or 11. There you
12
go,
on the grid.
What a race.
Eltink as well,
Yeah.
making up another 10 positions for himself. Marine up 10 positions. Felix up 10 positions.
Fletcher
so
got a point as well.
Fletcher
in 8th.
rescued a point, but I'm sure he'll hold himself to higher standards. Only P8. Nevertheless, a
On the
point.
front wing.
Yeah, nevertheless, a point. I think that just shows the craziness of this race, and the retirements were Tim Wentink, Yoda Speak 77, who was running for a podium, and Matthijs, who got caught up in a few incidents. But wow, that's all I can say. What a
I
race!
thoroughly enjoyed that. That was absolutely brilliant. A sprint race for the British Grand Prix for GPRL Summer Sprint Series. How was that for you? That was a brilliant drive.
It was a really chaotic race. I mean, from P12 I had a bad start, and like the first 2 laps everybody was just crashing around, and I just avoided the chaos and eventually took the lead in the last lap.
So yeah, now talk us through that move on the last lap, because you caught up to Damien all the way until the final lap of the race, and then you put in a brilliant move on him.
I reached him like in the last lap, and I think he was slowing down to get the DRS, but I know he was doing that, so I waited, and yeah, just got a good exit out of Maggots and Beckett's the section, and yeah, pulled it off.
So for you, not a bad day actually. So you got 5th place in the feature race and a win in the sprint race. Is this a sign of things to come for you? Are you definitely fancy your chances of winning this series?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna give it a shot.
Oh well, thank you very much for your time. rounding up the top three, unfortunately we weren't able to get hold of our second place finisher, which is a shame, but nonetheless, we'll move on. So rounding up the top three, our third place finisher is MNT_Eltink, or Kai, for those of you that know him. Congratulations, Kai. Great drive, great result. What is your thoughts on that race?
Yeah, thank you, mate. First, I'm really happy with the P3. After a bit of disappointment first qualifying, I started P15 because I got an evaluation. I managed to get back to P4, what I'm really happy with. And now the second race I started, remember P13. A big crash in the start cost me to P7. And overall it was a good pace, a good race. I got really happy with the pace I got. And on to the next one.
Now, of course, with your fourth place finish in the previous race, that's going to put you quite up the order in the championship. It's a nice haul of points for your first race. So, of course, the beauty of this format is you can finish in those sort of positions and be very high up in the standings. What are your thoughts on your chances for this championship? Do you feel that you are in the fight?
I think I'm in the fight, but there are six, seven people who are nearly on my edge, and Jay is really quick, Flix, out of pole, they're all really quick. We also had the DRS train, so I think it's pretty hard to say. But I think I got a really good chance to fight for the championship, not to win, but fight at least.
No, that's great. And of course, for Racing Point, it's important to score points on there, but do you feel that you might have a chance in the Constructors as well? Of course, we've got Renault, Red Bull have had a very good day as well.
I don't know if my teammate is really competitive. I don't know him, but if he scores points every week and I finish high at the top, then maybe it's a good chance that we can finish top 3. I will be really happy with it, because I love the Racing Point, also in Vel. It's my car.
Well, it certainly looks like you're getting the most out of it, and it's certainly enjoying having you along for the ride as well. So it was a great stuff. Great day for you today, Kai. Fourth place in feature and a podium in the sprint race. Excellent job. So that's our third place finisher, Kai.
So yeah, what a day of racing, I have to say. Massive thank you to Adam for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for the invite from yourself and GPRL. And I tell you what, Alex, I'm really looking forward to the next race. I almost feel like it can't come soon enough.
I think we all feel the same, mate. Remember, we'll find out the mystery round this time next week, and I hope you're all sitting nice and tight, all in lockdown. Remember to stay home, abide by the government rules, and hopefully this can be over, we'll be back to normal. But in the meantime, hopefully we can provide as much entertainment as humanly possible for you. I think today has shown that, you know, even for a brief amount of time, we can do that. What a race, and I echo the thoughts of Adam. I cannot wait for next week. Make sure to subscribe if you're new around here, turn on that bell for notifications, give the video a like, and yeah, we'll see you next time.